For all those of you who voted for President Trump, I understand the disappointment tonight. I've lost a couple times myself, but now let's give each other a chance. It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, lower the temperature, see each other again, listen to each other again. And to make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as our enemies. They are not our enemies, they are Americans.
Welcome to a weekly episode of Talk. We're your host, Eddie Marmolejo.
And Jaime Moreno.
Jaime, as you saw, the media projected President-elect Joe Biden is calling for unity. While he's doing that, there is censorship spreading out through America. In Burbank Unified School District, they're not even allowing middle school or high school teachers to teach To Kill a Mockingbird or read Huckleberry Finn.
It's a shame.
Yikes.
It's a shame.
As we stick in California too, Governor Newsom presented new COVID rules. Amongst these, a new curfew from tonight, which we'll record this episode, November 21st to December 21st. We have a curfew at 10 p.m. Does that mean the coronavirus goes to sleep at 9:59? Who knows? Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But before we tune into this and many other topics that we're going to discuss today, we first invite you to always follow us on our social media pages: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Parler. we're like everywhere now. Yeah, but that's what we got to do. You know, like I said, this platform's for you guys. We're trying to give you guys the correct information and give the Latino community the correct information. So we got to do it everywhere. But with that being said, let us begin with Governor Newsom. Okay, as you know, Governor Newsom is it's in a bit of trouble.
Governor Newsom is a big hypocrite. He is a big hypocrite. I'm sorry. I don't care what you think about him. I don't care if you voted for him or voted against for him. This man is literally telling every Californian to stay home, don't go out. Don't go to restaurants. We're closing schools. We're closing this. We're closing that. And he does exactly the opposite of what he has been demanding from us to comply with. So while we're complying with all his rules, he gets a get out of jail card. Really? Really?
Yeah, but let us let Governor Newsom explain to you exactly what happened here.
Remiss if I did not acknowledge something just before we go into the Q&A. And that is very soberly acknowledge that a few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. My wife and I, a friend that I've known for almost 20 years and a friend that had, put a lot of time and energy into his 50th birthday. It was in Napa, which was in the orange status, relatively loose compared to some other counties. It was to be an outdoor restaurant, and we started the program started at 4 o'clock. It was one of those early reservations. I got there a little bit late at 4:30, and as soon as I sat down at the larger table, I realized it was a little larger group than I had anticipated, and I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up. You can quibble about the guidelines, et cetera, but the spirit of what I'm preaching all the time was contradicted, and I got to own that. And so I want to apologize to you because I need to preach and practice, not just preach and not practice. And I've done my best to do that. We're all human. We all fall short sometimes. Folks to know that. Paid for our dinner, and we had an early dinner, but didn't matter. I shouldn't have been there. I should have turned back around. And so when that happens, you pay the price, but you also own the mistake, and you don't ever make it again. And you have my word.
I don't know. Did his face look like a face of remorse?
This guy.
His face looked like he was smirking.
Yeah. That's what I was going to point out to you. This whole time, I was waiting for two things: for him to laugh and going, "I'm Batman." But anyways,
I'm Batman. That's funny.
Smirk, the smirk on the face I can't get over it. It's like you're basically laughing at the whole situation. And keep in mind, this is a governor, right, that again put us back into the most restrictive tiers, is trying to do anything for families to get together during the holidays. Keep in mind, this new limited curfew, stay-at-home order, essential travel only is for the next month, right? So the 21st, like 5 days before, 4 days, excuse me, before Christmas. And who knows what's gonna happen then? Okay, if you listen to the press conference, they said they're going on they're checking rates week by week instead of every 2 weeks. There's a lot of things going on, but that smirk on his face, he's like, well, you know, I had a birthday party and I planned this for a long time. Never mind, I don't know how many weddings, bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras, I don't know, any other gathering were canceled here because of a stay-at-home order, because of not allowing social gatherings. But you know, the governor, you know, Jaime, can go to a 5-star French restaurant. Keep in mind, they sell their unlimited plate here is like $175. I keep reading, and he goes in there with a bunch of his friends, you know, around the table, no masks. By the way, they were eating without masks. Another thing the governor proposed, that they should be eating with masks on, but you know,
it's the spirit that he's talking about. It's the spirit.
It's the spirit. Yes, the spirit. Yeah. But what do you think? I mean, the smirk on his face just makes you want to throw a shoe at him. But you go ahead.
Bust a bush, and what was that? Pakistan?
Yeah, it was in Iraq.
Iraq. That was in Iraq. That's right. When they threw a shoe at him.
Yeah.
Not only that, I mean, okay, we've been in quarantine for about what, 9 months now?
We're going on 9 months. Yes, sir.
We're going on 9 months now, and he forgot that he can't do that.
He's the governor.
Really? You're going to a birthday party, a 50-year-old birthday, your friend's birthday party. Yeah. Okay. First of all, he was allowed to even have a party. Okay. Yeah, well, most people, like you said, Eddie, you can't have a party. You can't have quinceañeras, no weddings, no first communions, no first baptisms. I'm just going through the list of Hispanic stuff, right? But other cultures, right? You have other cultures, you know, sweet 16s and so on and so forth, right? Whatever your culture celebrates. There was a reason for your culture to get together, you know, that was banned as well.
Right.
Okay. So he goes to a birthday party, his friend's birthday party, okay, knowing straight up that for the past 8.5 months, we can't have gatherings at home, right? We can't have birthday parties. Like pretty much what I just said, but yet he shouldn't have been there. Really, Governor Newsom? We can barely go to a restaurant, right, with a family of 5.
And he wanted us to eat outside on and I guess rip it open and have it on between bites. But, you know, I'm Batman, so I can go to this French restaurant and sit there and eat and all this stuff. You know,
so what? The rules don't apply for the governor, but applies for the 40 million residents in California?
Yeah.
Like, who does he think he is? I mean, I know he thinks he's the governor, but he thinks he can just do whatever the hell he wants? Really, bro?
But
really? And I think it's also the smirk comes from because
he knows what people have made. He's going to get away with it.
Yes, exactly.
He's going to get away with it. He's going to get away with it.
The media has been quiet about this.
Yep.
The national and the California media. Well, I think California media has
there's been some noise in the California media, but national?
Yeah. National, it's been silent, right? But wait. Well, what was that? What was that noise again, Eddie?
National media? Yeah, it's been national.
Wasn't ask him a question.
I mean, yeah.
ABC, NBC, CNN.
You know, CNN.
Telemundo.
Chris Cuomo over there threw a tirade the other day on COVID, like, "Oh, you're gonna be responsible because you're telling people to go eat a turkey." But where's that tirade for the governor of California?
Exactly, and it's just, I mean, whether you're left or right, whether you're Democrat or Republican, I mean, any rational person be like, well, yeah, they're not making a big deal out of it. But they made a big deal of other governors who've done less than that, right? Or not. They haven't even done that, actually. I don't think I heard of governor going out to eat with friends, or they haven't got caught yet at this point, right? But they're upset at the governor because, he's not mandating forcing people to wear masks. Oh my God, he's the worst. Yeah. But yet the governor who goes out with his friends to party, chill, relax, no mask, no social distancing, like nothing's going on. They just keep their mouth quiet. I mean, come on. The double standards there.
The double standards is horrible.
Pretty evident. Pretty evident.
Just imagine if Trump had done that. Imagine if Trump.
Oh, Oh, don't even.
I mean,
Oh.
when he came back from COVID, remember he went to the balcony and they had the photographers and the media downstairs. Oh my God, Donald Trump went to the balcony without a mask on. What about the people inside? This isn't that.
He doesn't care for life. He doesn't care for
he doesn't care for the sanctity of life. But when Governor Newsom, again, is with his best friend's 50th birthday party, which, by the way, let me reiterate, he took a long time to plan.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's where that's where we're at. It's that double standard that's upsetting, and the smirk on the face. I mean, the smirk on the face says it all. And folks, I'm attacking again the governor on the message, right? Because he's been putting these restrictions, but if the rules don't apply to him, why should anybody listen? And With that being said, I am applauding the sheriffs of San Bernardino, Riverside, San Diego, and Orange counties who said they're not going to follow rules that violate the constitutional liberties of its residents. So I applaud Sheriff Bianco over here in Riverside. So kudos to him. But this is perhaps what we got to do. He didn't set the example. The media's not going to say it. So we're saying it for you. The media did not. Newsom did not set an example, and having a smirk during this whole press conference, apology, so-called apology.
Imagine someone apologizing to you with that smirk. Would you take it serious?
No, I mean, but I've gotten. It's like when I get those half apologies when you have like those Facebook discussions when people take personal, but they still throw a joke in there and like a jab. That's what it is. That's what you got from Newsom. So to all you lefties, like, oh, you're just mad because you can't give your family and Thanksgiving dinner. No, it's not it. It's y'all in the left talk about setting examples, the sanctity of life, protecting life, make sure you follow the rules. But when it's your guy,
pretty much, Eddie, pretty much.
But
and not only that, also, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Well, I forgot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just had it right now, and I kind of like, and then I'm like, wait, what was I saying? It's the principle. There you go. That's the principle that we're talking about, right? The principle here is that to protect life, to protect the vulnerable, to reduce the curve, wear a mask, and keep social distance, right? Everyone has to apply or comply to that order. But the governor and his buddies can't or are exempt from that.
Are exempt, yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah.
Whether you're Democrat or Republican, that ain't right.
Yeah, and we could spend hours trying to get this discussion, but there's a more deeper conversation I really want to have this week, and that's what we showed you at the beginning of the video and why I called it crap. It's not okay. Look, the reason I'm calling it crap is because I'm calling it out, and you see how do you want to call him? Vice president, still president-elect? I'll leave it up to you guys. I'm waiting for the constitutional process, so you know I'm still saying vice president. He's talking about unity and don't regard the opposition as your enemy. And I swear, when I heard that, I'm like, that is the biggest load of crap I have heard in now the last 5 years. Let me tell you why real quick, and then Jaime, you can chime in here. For 4 years, right? I was pissed off in 2016. I'm not like Jaime knows I was pissed off. I hated that election. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, I hated it. I had a map of the United States burning because of how much I hated that election. Okay, it was that bad.
He did.
But there was a line that President Biden said towards the end of his speech is like, give me a chance, right? So I gave a chance to President Trump. I didn't like the results of the election. I thought both candidates were terrible, but I said, you know what, let's see what happens. If the guy stinks, you know, he's a one-term guy and he's out. Okay. His policies began to work. Now, Eddie, why aren't you giving Joe Biden the same the same respect and the same chance. And I'm like, well, first of all, when I hear Joe Biden call for unity after what he and his party have done the last 4 years, it's kind of hard for me to just say, okay, for 4 years, what did we hear? Not my president, challenged the results of the election, colluded with Russia, right? Marching in the streets, burning sittings down, a 4-year social media and multinational media campaign, and basically opposition and government campaign to get this man out of office. And you want to tell 73 million voters to simply turn off their voices, accept the results of the election. And you want to tell the man that you've been hammering for 4 years to accept the results of the election. Yeah, good luck with that. I am not buying it, because for 4 years also, actually for a year, because I didn't start really supporting the president until last year. All you in the opposition did not act friendly, did not act with unity. In fact, you casted us all out, and you still are. You still are. So when I hear Joe Biden's call for unity, it's not that I don't believe that he actually wants to call for unity, but the actions of your side deliver a different message, and it's evident with the recent things that happened in DC. It's evident with what's going on in social media right now, the censorship. I mean, Harvard wants to just put out a petition to not allow, if Trump were to get out of office, to allow former Trump aides or anybody that served under the president to not be allowed to speak at Harvard. I mean, really? And now you're calling and now you're calling his legal actions to question the election as a way to undermine our democracy. Any of you in the opposition, please let me know what violations to the Constitution is President Trump or his campaign doing when doing that. And please let me know in the comment section. But it's a little crap, Jaime, and it's irritating. It really is.
No, I totally agree 100%. And not only that, I agree 100% with you. Everything you said about the complaints, not my president, and so on and so forth, was propagated by the Democratic Party and the leftist political movements, right? Now, remember, I think it was before his inauguration or after, correct me on this, there was marches.
Oh, that was right after the election.
Right?
That was like right after the election. I mean, election night.
Election night. Women's right.
Yeah.
He hadn't even taken power yet. He hasn't even done anything against women's right.
Right.
And they were marching for women's right because the president-elect is an evil man. I mean, you have Pelosi and congressional leaders talking about impeachment. That this president will be impeached.
Yeah, not even sworn into office. Like I said, it was a 4-year campaign.
And, okay, let's put how ridiculous this was. Dave Chappelle, a well-known comedian, right? A respected comedian, went on SNL and said, let's give this man a chance. Okay? That's all he said. Let's give this man a chance and see what happens. He received so much backlash for that.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about Trump. So much backlash by the media, so much backlash by fellow celebrities, so much backlash on social media because he said, let's give this guy a chance. Let's see what happens, right? That's all he said. He didn't say he agreed with him. He didn't say he disagreed with him. He did say some things about him, that, were pretty funny, actually. Good jokes. I mean, I'm a Dave Chappelle fan, right? And he just went and said, let's give this man a chance and see what happens, right? The man, Dave Chappelle, famous Dave Chappelle, hilarious comedian. He just received an award. I forgot the name of the award. The Mark Twain Award, right? Which is really prestigious, right? He just received it. That same man who just received the Mark Twain Award a couple of weeks ago or months ago was the same man who got backlash for just saying, let's see what happens, let's give this man a chance, right?
Right.
Calling for unity, in the spirit of unity, to use the governor's term, right? And he received so much backlash for that. He
Yeah.
received so much backlash for that. So just to help you understand the hypocrisy that now the Democrats are trying to say, or Joe Biden and his party trying to say, we need to come together. We need to give each other a chance. We need to give me a chance to prove to you, right? They didn't give the same chance to President Trump.
No.
He said stupid things, and we've always made that clear. And we're not going to go in details here because you get it from the media 24/7. So it's a waste of our time to just repeat what they repeat, right?
Right.
The fact that he receives that comedian received so much backlash should be enough evidence for you to realize and see that that's just the kind of baloney and BS that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Now, because your guy won,
Yeah.
you want to give him a chance.
Yeah.
But the guy you did not want to win the White House, or the guy you campaigned against wins, you don't give him that opportunity. You
Right.
can't have it both ways. And we have to be adults. And I think the liberals and those progressives need to understand, they need to be adults and realize you're going to lose some and win some.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you just have to accept what it is and try to see if you can work with the opposition. Work with the opposition. That's something we're losing in America currently. Before,
talking to the other
you
side.
have disagreements and policies, and you would talk to each other, try to work things out, and try to see if we can compromise.
It's all negotiating. I mean, I think
Negotiating. And President Trump has said that many times.
Yeah.
And many times on
Yeah.
interviews, he's like, I'm trying to negotiate with the Democrats, but they're not willing to concede to this and that and this, right? And he's even willing to let go of his border wall, right, for some concessions from the Democrats. And even that didn't work. So it's just that whole, like Eddie says, the whole BS of unity, and we have to give each other a chance, and we just gotta move forward. Bull. Because for 4 years, the Democrats and the liberals have been
and don't get me
driving this
wrong.
country crazy with
Yeah.
protests, with their lies, with the burning of cities,
Right.
with calling everyone racist, calling everyone Nazis, by literally blocking. I mean, there's friends who have blocked each other on social media, on Facebook, just because they might agree by a little bit of President Trump's policy. Not the whole thing, but they might agree to some points of it. They
Right.
already labeled as racist. And like Joe Biden said, they're not our enemy, they're Americans. But for 4 years, you've called any Trump supporter the enemy.
Ilhan Omar
Racist, fascist.
And Ilhan Omar just recently called all Trump rallies Klan rallies. I attended.
Exactly.
I attended
So,
Trump rallies. I don't know how many you've been to gatherings, right? Have you been to conservative gatherings that support the president?
I mean, conservative gatherings, yeah, but not Trump.
Yeah, not Trump rallies, but I've been to both. Do I have a white robe on? I mean, first of all, let me know.
I think the American flag is the new white robe.
Has the Klan his membership requirement? Is it now a rainbow nation or something? I don't know, dude. I mean, the comments by Ilhan Omar is like what we're talking about real quick, and also like comments, like I said, this group that we follow is Voto Latino. Voto Latino has a big base, right? They're a big grassroots movement. Thank you for your involvement, but when I asked you, when we asked the question, what has the president violated constitutionally, and him asking if the election did not have fraud, we got comments back like, we don't know, we don't accept you here, F out of here, or Hillary Clinton told them Hillary Clinton told Biden only not to concede because Trump was going to try to cheat, and I'm like, what? So we're no longer Latino, and get out of here, and we're not going to answer your legal question. So I'm like,
and not being accepted. You're not accepted here, really?
But this is what I'm saying. What's that? I posted that video by the other squad member, Ayanna Presley. Don't sit here if you don't want to be a brown voice. Don't sit here if you want to be a black voice. Don't sit here if you want to be anything voice. All Trump rallies are Klan rallies. And it's still going on now. So when, like I said, to end this, it's not that Mr. Vice President, I'm still calling you Mr. Vice President. It's not that I don't heed your call for unity. It's that your base doesn't want unity. Your base does not want unity. Your base wants to eliminate all opposition to the narrative. That's what it is. And I cannot sit here idly by and say it's not a load of crap. You could mean well by that message, and you could be sincere about that message. But your side, no. No. No.
The party that you represent did not apply that
I want
rule
that.
that it wants to
I
apply
want
now.
that. Does not want that. It's sad because the Democrats,
So get out of here with that.
liberals were for free speech, but not nowadays, which leads to our next segment of censorship. Like Jaime, you brought this good point right now that when you have political discussions on Facebook or on Twitter, whatever it is you have, sometimes they get too heated and sometimes your friends either delete you and block you. But the problem is it might not even get to that point anymore because now Twitter, Facebook, Google are now censoring posts, are now making it harder for the opposition to have a voice in these platforms through things called like fact checking. Okay. Let me give you
fact checking. Don't even get me started on that one, Eddie.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it right now. So let me give you an example for us here in MM Talk. Was it last week? We posted the electoral map presented by the Epoch Times. The Epoch Times, all it did, okay, this is a legitimate newspaper, puts the headline on top. Current electoral map with states in litigation or contested, right? So what did it do? It took the electoral votes out from those states and it adjusted the electoral count where Trump is winning to 232 to 227.
Yeah.
The fact check that was posted on that alert said two things. One, you're posting false information. And two, it said this does not show Joe Biden as the electoral winner for the 2020 race. And the Epoch Times was not even saying that. But because it did not show Joe Biden as the electoral winner or media projected winner, it said it was false information. Even though there's a caption describing you what this electoral map is about. Okay? Jaime. So Jaime and I, we posted a meme, right, that it said BLM wants Governor Newsom to appoint a black woman to replace Kamala Harris for a Senate seat. And the Latino Democrats want a Latino to replace Kamala Harris with another Latino. And somehow in all that, we got flagged that had COVID-19 information on it. Oh my God. So let me get this. Go to our page. It's right there. I did not mention COVID-19. I did not say nothing about COVID-19. It was actually more of a race card joke, if anything else. If you read it, you'll find out why. But somehow in all that, we got COVID-19. We got a COVID-19 warning. Friend, let me give you one more. My friend, as you know, Oregon legalized certain drugs, right, for in its state recently.
All drugs, the possession of all drugs.
All drugs. So and literally the meme said it's funny how Oregon just legalized cocaine but banned plastic straws. I hope you understand the connection, right? And that's why I said it's a struggle. And they said it's a struggle. This was on Facebook. Facebook puts a fact check on it and it said false information because Oregon did not legalize all drugs or ban plastic straws. It's a meme. It's a meme. How is a meme supposed to be taken serious, right? So we had hearings about censorship. That's what we did. There was a meme we also posted called the Ministry of Truth. We did a meme on that. And it had Zuckerberg, what's the other guy's name? Dorsey, and I forget the guy from Google. I always forget his name. But they had him there. Yeah, and they were talking about censorship. And Ted Cruz was like, are you a publisher? Because if you're deciding what to put, what allowed to be posted, what not to be posted, then you're a publisher. You're not a free social media site, the platform, because you're not allowing free speech. And that makes a good point. If Facebook, Google, and Twitter are deciding what to allow to be said and what not allowed to be said, then that's a problem. That's why a lot of conservatives, you can say right now, are fleeing to Parler, right? Or as the media called it, the conservative bunker. I don't know if that's a Nazi reference, right? But we'll see. Fleeing to the bunker. And no, it's because you can't even joke around social media. I mean, jokes are not being fact checked, and it's this whole thing of censorship. And like Jaime pointed out, it's one thing for you to get mad with your friend, right? Just because you had a heated discussion, get them on Facebook. It's the fact that you can't even speak out on the subject that you feel passionate about. They might get flagged because you're giving out the wrong information. Maybe you don't know what you're saying, but you want to say something and may be wrong, but now you're putting at a risk of getting fact checked. And that's just bad. That's just bad,
I mean, I get the intention of the fact check to want to make sure there's truth out there.
Right.
But if your fact checkers are fact checking only a certain side of the debate, of the political spectrum, then you're not using it for the intention or the purpose you claim to be using it.
Right.
Right? Because we've seen even the media, even people on social media are happy that conservative ideology or beams or whatever is being censored. They think it's a righteous thing to do because somehow in their minds, any conservative idea is wrong, right? Because progressive is right. That's just taking sides politically. If they fact check both sides equally, then I wouldn't be as complaining as much. I still wouldn't even allow censorship. First of all, we shouldn't even allow censorship in America because we are established and founded on free speech. If I want to say the sky is purple, let me say the sky is purple. I'm crazy, but I can say the sky is purple. No one's gonna take me serious and be like, oh, this is like idiot who thinks the sky is purple. Let him be.
And it's funny,
the left has become
accepted. The guy would just be called an idiot. Look, that guy thinks the sky is purple.
It's local. I said that. Remember, I don't know if you guys I don't know who watches this, but if you're old enough, or if you still remember, the crazy guy in the corner, right, who would scream crazy stuff if you ever go to the big cities, like their world is ending, it's doomsday, or aliens got me, or it's a real. Back then, people would be like, he's a nutcase, right? I mean, I know we shouldn't offend people with mental illnesses as nutcases. I get it. But we say that as don't pay attention to him. He just, he's out there. He's not.
Right.
He's out there. He's just out there in his own world. Just, ignore him. Don't take him serious. He's just out there. Right? Now, the left has been so obsessed with whether or not someone is saying something that agrees or disagrees with them. They're so obsessed with someone disagreeing with their ideology, political ideology, that they censor it. It's racist. It's bad. It must be censored. It must be taken down. That is not the America that was founded. That's not the America we should live in, and that's not the America that should be heading towards that direction. And I'm sorry, there's people who write the most dumbest things, most inaccurate information. I get it. I get there's tabloids in the social media. I guess there's misinformation in social media. I get that. I understand that. Yes, we got to control that. But to the point where, just like the examples we showed, it has nothing to do with that contradicts or anything that we lied about. It's just they didn't agree with that leftist progressive ideology that all of a sudden it becomes censored and fact-checked. And that's the hypocrisy we're talking about. And they fact-check liberals when they say, oh, all the children were lost, for example. We'll get to that later, but just an example. 500 kids are missing. Why did they fact-check them? No, they're not missing. The fact is that they haven't returned calls in regards to the kids' statuses. That's it. Yeah. They know where they're at. They know who they're with. They know where their location is. They just give them a call, see how the kid is. They haven't answered the phone call, right? They haven't responded to the phone call. And, we'll get into it. But why don't they fact-check the liberals for that?
Yeah. And it's funny, Ted Cruz during the hearing said if they were willing to get data on how many times a Democrat was fact-checked and censored, and to what Republicans and Dorsey, Rasputin-looking son of a gun, well, we're going to try to look into that for the purposes of transparency. What do you mean you're going to try to look at that? That's exactly the problem, that you don't want to find, that you're going to come to find out that you are indeed censoring one more side than the other. It's evident now. Right, but we here in the I would love the numbers. I would love the numbers.
Me too.
I would love the numbers if it
show me the money, the numbers. Sorry, the numbers.
Show me the numbers. But I would love it if to say, maybe we're wrong, and but I'm pretty sure that that's not going to happen. Just on action alone. Candace Owens just on one of her recent episodes got deleted from YouTube because it said that all men. I guess men act like men and women act like women, or something around those lines, and the whole episode got deleted from YouTube. But these are the things. Like, how many? I want numbers, and I wish somebody would make a study on this, right? To see what the percentages are on social media to how many times liberals versus conservatives are getting censored, because it adds to the discussion to see that free speech is under attack in America. In America, free speech is under attack. And if you have not, and I swear to God, Dennis Prager, you better give me some news for this. If you have not watched No Safe Spaces, watch it. It's a really good film by Dennis Prager, right, from Prager University, renowned talk show. No Safe Spaces. It talks about basically how censorship, but in colleges, but that those people that are in colleges are now out in the world, and now we're starting to see it affect the real world. Because it's one thing to post a joke, right, and try to take it seriously. I mean, if you think memes give you information, then there's something wrong with you, because memes are not made to give you information. They're meant to illustrate something.
They're entertainment.
Yeah, they're just they're there for humor, but or entertainment, like Jaime points out. But to have memes fact checked now, it's beyond me. But the biggest problem is, for one entire wing of the American people say censorship is okay because it helps us to be safe. It helps us to move on. Forget the past. I just mentioned how Burbank Unified doesn't want to teach To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird. And it's funny, the same people that are claiming social justice don't want to read To Kill a Mockingbird, which was what again?
A book on racial justice.
But
in the 60s,
we're not gonna read.
I forget the timeline.
We're not gonna read Frederick Douglass anymore. We're not gonna read any of all that.
Oh no, we're gonna read that. That's for sure.
Oh,
Maybe we're gonna read that.
I don't know.
But a book that literally tells the story of how a lawyer defended a wrongly accused black person in the South is not gonna be read in public schools.
In Burbank.
Or in Burbank, sorry, in Burbank.
Just in Burbank Unified. But I'm
like Eddie said, the same social justice words of Black Lives Matters, right, has somehow convinced Burbank Unified School District, or Burbank convinced itself, for whatever reason,
right,
that To Kill a Mockingbird is too egregious to students. A book that literally talks about black and social justice.
Yeah.
So it's just.
It's just,
as like I said, it's so mind blowing. Not because I'm inspired, it's because it's so dumb.
Yeah, it is.
It's so dumb. Sorry, go ahead, Eddie.
No. You're fine. No. I was gonna wrap it up here. It's just it's really bothering me, Jaime. And I'm gonna say this again. Censorship in America being accepted for security. Like Ben Franklin said, if you want to give up your freedoms for security, you don't deserve freedom. Right, you
don't deserve both. You don't deserve both.
You don't deserve both.
Neither freedom nor security.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing, right? But
gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah, it's getting to that point, and it's funny. I was listening to Thomas Sowell in one of his interviews that America's probably reaching that point of no return. I'm not being over dramatic, and
don't say that. You're gonna make me piss off. I know you're telling the truth. But I just don't want to hear it.
In the sense, if we keep allowing these progressives, right, to try to protect you from the past. It's
from
like
your feelings being hurt. God damn it.
You need the past. You need to understand the past to know what's going on in the future so you can make tomorrow better. How are you gonna negate those experiences? They're horrible. I get it. They're horrible. Slavery, horrible. Okay? I get it. But right, the social injustice of the 50s, horrible. Bull Connor, horrible. George Wallace, horrible. Even though he gave Joe Biden an award, horrible. All that. But you need to tell your people, this is where we were, and this is how we got better. The problem is the progressives don't want to even talk about it. They want to take that away. And there's only a couple regimes that do that, right? Either you're Marxist or fascist regimes always trying to rewrite history. Hey, you haven't read 1984, read it, right? If you haven't read it, Mein Kampf, read it. Read it. I'm telling you, it's always for this revision.
I tell people to read Mein Kampf, Eddie. What are you doing that,
Eddie? I'm just saying, you have to read the evil guys to understand what's going on in society today. It's not just about reading books.
So what he's trying to say is that Mein Kampf pretty much is an outline of how, Hitler was going to get power. And in those guidelines that he wrote, because he read it in political theory. I read it in college in political theory class.
Right.
Eddie read it in political theory class, I bet the same or something similar to that, right?
Yeah.
And if you read it, you're like, there's some similar stuff of what's going on here. You know, currently there's some similar stuff. And I'm not talking about what Trump, I'm talking about like this censorship, like we're talking about now, censorship ideas.
Controlling the media, saying the propaganda, the narrative, control the narrative. 1984, those who control the past, those who write the past control the future, all these things. So, like,
Exactly.
I mean, don't get scared.
Like that's on point. No, I just wanted you to clarify that just for our viewers.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
it's the fact that you have to read what has been done in evil regimes, right, in order to understand. Oh, this looks familiar. This is starting to make a little sense. But even when you see that, the media is still going to try to point it out that it's the right side that is trying to do this. And I'm like, how? How? The conservatives professor that haven't said that you don't want Trump there. I mean, dude, why is it always that conservative groups in colleges need protection? And why is it always the liberals causing the chaos? I mean, help me out here. Help me out.
And that's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. I don't care if you disagree. I mean, you can disagree, but the fact is, the liberal group is more violent than the conservative group.
Yeah, it is.
That's a fact.
There's
videos. There's enough videos and evidence to show that. And if you still can't see that, there's something wrong with you.
But
I'm sorry, I'm gonna say straight. It's something wrong with you.
But it's more evident each day, and they're like, but we're just reacting to all these years of racism. And I'm like, what have you experienced? Okay, I'm going on. The point.
Okay, let's just end it here because I'm gonna get mad too.
Censorship is bad in America. Censorship is bad in America.
Yes,
okay?
It is.
In the land of the free, I don't care what side you're on. I'm defending both sides. Okay, you have the right to speak. I have the right to speak. Your ideas, I find them ridiculous. You're gonna find my ideas ridiculous, but they both have to be said to make a better country. All right, so last week, I mean, you weren't here, and I gave my thoughts on the election. I said we were up to like almost 3:34 in the morning.
It was a long night.
We are 2 weeks out, and we still don't know who the president is, right? The next president of the United States. And a lot of people are upset because I'm not saying Joe Biden is the next president of the United States. Well, again, like we said at the beginning of the episode, the media declared him, not our constitutional process. Yes, I would have said the same thing if it were the other way around. In the best transparent way possible, okay? In calls to fairness, okay? All right, so it is what it is. So, and now with this whole thing with the fraudulent situation, everybody's been asking, is there hope? Some people on our Instagram, is there hope? And I said, look, guys, you really can't compare 2000 to 2020. Okay, what happened 20 years ago is 500 votes, one state. You're talking about 5 states, and then you're talking about enough evidence to overturn the results of all 5 states. It's going to be difficult. Is there a chance? Yes. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Why? Not enough time. So in all these things, and you're starting to see. And basically, with all these court rulings coming back and not in the president's favor, they're gonna probably try to aim for that Supreme Court, going to the House of Representatives, playbook, right? That's their playbook. Probably go to the Supreme Court and then go to the House of Representatives, and that's probably the play that the Trump team wants to add. Here's one of so that's where I see it. It's a difficult road, but if he pulls it off, he pulls it off. If he doesn't, then it's Joe Biden. But it's going to be hard. And that's basically what I argued last week. But I want to get your thoughts on the election thus far, Jaime. And also, what do you think? Like, is it going to go to the Supreme Court? Is it going to go to the House of Representatives? Or are we just going to accept the results by and then just have Joe Biden sworn on January 20th?
We're all going to die.
We're all going to
That's a fact. We're all going to die eventually.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but I'm just kidding. I just honestly, I mean, this is the first time I haven't predicted an election. Right. And I'm not saying I'm some grand wizard or anything, but I've typically predicted. I mean, the biggest prediction I made was the Trump, right? Trump winning 2016. And Eddie is a witness to that. He would be like, no, he's not going to win. He can't win. And I told him he's going to win.
Trump's gonna win.
Trump's going to, I mean, even way out, even back in January, like the primaries, I was like, he's going to win it. He's going to win the presidency.
All right.
But this year, like, honestly, I was 50-50. I really didn't know. I couldn't, my gut was really not in Trump's favor, but it wasn't in Biden's favor either, right? So going into this election cycle, I looked at it as people are going to vote for Joe Biden, not because they like his policies, but so much because they're just tired of the media hearing the negative stuff about Trump.
Yeah.
For 4 years, 24/7, every time they turn on TV, every time they see social media, every time they look for the news feed. I mean, and I say that on an experience level because I look at news feeds too. We get the Washington Post, the New York Times, we get the LA Times, we get all those news organizations. We're not actually, we never, or we hardly even quote some conservative articles or news publications. We hardly do that, honestly, because liberal publications pretty much, make them, shoot themselves in the foot. And that's what we use, right? But what I'm trying to say is that my gut was telling me that people are going to vote for Biden just because they're sick and tired of hearing of all the bad stuff Trump is doing based on the media's interpretation. And then my other half gut was telling me that President Trump is probably going to win the presidency only if a large percentage of American voters can see past the BS of the media and give him the win we'll give him the win. Y'all are just taking it over out of proportion, right? That was my gut feeling into 2020 election. More people voted for Biden, which I expected.
Right.
Even the large states like California, New York, those large states are always going to vote blue, and those are the largest states, right? But yeah, that's how it came in. Honestly, right now, I don't think Trump has a chance of actually trying to change the electoral college. I really don't think he has a chance. Honestly, I want him to have the chance. I want him to be able to overturn it.
It's hard.
But the problem right now that I see is they jumped the gun on fraud, and what they should have done is recount. And as they did the recount, get the evidence of fraud, get the evidence of missing ballots, get the evidence of ballots that weren't counted. You know what I'm saying? But since they jumped the gun saying, fraud, I think that's the legal mistake or the political mistake that's going on now. And that's how I see it. Because there's ballots that were found in counties that were missing. There was ballots that the machines didn't tally correctly. So it's there in small numbers, right? 2,000 here, 3,000 there. It's in small numbers, but it's there. And if they would have just said recount, right? Recount, audit the results, audit the ballots to see what's going on. Then you would be able to get the evidence quicker. Right. The fact that they jumped the gun and said fraud, and they literally went to court.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, where's the evidence? It's there, Your Honor, but we need time to get it. You look like a clown. I'm sorry. Legally speaking, whether you agree with Trump or disagree with Trump, legally speaking, you look like a clown before the judge. It's like if I go before the judge, it's like, Your Honor, I think Eddie stole my shirt. Okay, where's the evidence? Honor, I need time to get you the evidence that he stole my shirt. The judge is like, get the hell out of here. And the famous Laura, whatever, not Laura, Polo, caso cerrado, right? In the Spanish court TV series, even she would be like, get the hell out of my court, right? Like, you want me to give you more time to prove to me that he stole something, but you're before me trying to sue him for stealing something that you still don't have evidence for, but you need time for. Like, get out of here, right? So I think that's a mistake, the strategic legal mistake that the Trump administration or the campaign is doing right now, right? Another thing I see is that even if they did find, and we have found ballots that weren't counted, and there were ballots that were just, mistallied, it still isn't enough.
Yeah, that's what I said last week. It's not enough.
not enough to take away from Biden. It's not enough to take away from Biden.
Yeah, that's something I explained to our viewers and our listeners is that it's not enough to just like say there's fraud. Okay, let's say the difference between Biden and Trump is 50,000 votes. They only found 10,000 votes that were fraudulent. The split is now 40,000 votes. That's still Biden winning, guys. And
It really is.
Jaime's view on it. It's like me. It's like you have not only are you thinking against time because these states are going to certify their votes, right? And maybe that's what I'm maybe that's the playbook. That in order to create the time, they want to get all these lawsuits and everything, so the courts can't deny. And they're like, okay, you guys don't want to listen to us, we'll take you to the Supreme Court. Maybe that's the playbook. I don't know, because that's what it seems to be. Because if these states start to dismiss, right, then it's gonna be taken to the Supreme Court. Then it'll be up to the Supreme Court whether they want to hear the case or not. But we'll see. But Jaime is absolutely right, and like I said, our analysis is similar. It's like it's time, the number of votes, is there enough votes to overturn? And time and try to meet that December 13th deadline in order, because that's when they're going to go vote and certify the election, the electors, right? So it's tough. It's tough, folks. And Jaime said,
and not only that, if I can add real quick, is that you're trying to do it in various states. You should have focused on strategic states.
Yeah, it's 5 states.
You know, you should have been strategic in certain states. Okay, if you would have done audit of all those 5 states, and as the audits are coming out, you're like, okay, we're going to do the lawsuit in this state and that state, and that's it, right? Because that will give us an opportunity to flip the electoral votes in those states,
right?
But if you're trying to spread it out, you're just trying to do too much,
right,
and deal with too many at the same time. That you're going to get hammered here, hammered there, and obviously the defense team so the plaintiffs here is the Trump campaign. The defense is the state's electoral
boards,
commission, board, or whatever, right? Or bureaucracy. The defense is going to take those rulings and be like, well, these courts don't agree with it either. So you're pretty much setting up to fail. So if they would have just focused on certain states, like, I don't know off the top of my head, like maybe Wisconsin or maybe Georgia or maybe, Nevada or maybe Michigan or maybe Pennsylvania, right? One of those states, and just focus energies in one of those states that gives them enough opportunity to overturn it or to invalidate stuff, then it would have been a better strategy. But if you're all over the place trying to do so many at once, it's impossible because you're just gonna get shut down left and right. And
like I said,
whether it's justified, yes or no, it looks bad. The PR looks bad. Right? And the Supreme Court is pretty wise. They're going to see that too. We have all these jurisdictions that just pretty much dismiss your case. Why are we going to take it up? Because it didn't go through the process. The Supreme Court can even say it didn't go through the proper process.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't go from lower court to Supreme Court to appellate court to Supreme Court. It went straight up. So it's a lot of things that legally going through. Like I said, I'm not going against Trump. I'm not trying to be a rhino here. I'm just being realistic in terms of political strategy and legal strategy.
Right.
That's all I'm doing. And that's how I see it. So
I mean, if
from here on with the Biden presidency, honestly, it's going to be Kamala being the new Dick Cheney.
Kamala, how dare you compare Kamala Harris? No, not even compare. How do you put Kamala Harris in the great Dick Cheney?
If you guys don't know, right?
Closest thing that we had to the Emperor Palpatine, man. What are you doing?
If you guys don't know, there's always been this joke that
Dick Cheney.
Bush was like the face, right? And Dick Cheney was like the guy behind, he was the puppeteer or whatever. It's just a political joke that was happening back in the day. So it's just a joke here. There's no evidence that happened, but that's just a joke, right? Because, George Bush would have so many slips, which they literally dubbed it Bushisms, right? Bushism. And so they would say, Bush is just the face, America, right? And Dick Cheney was the guy behind the scenes, doing all the work. Yeah. So that's pretty much, that's a joke for those who don't know or don't get the reference. Or I don't want you to take it literally, right? I don't want Republicans to think that, oh, Republicans are bad or you're talking bad about Cheney. It's just a satire, all right? But honestly, Joe Biden is what, 80 years old in a couple of years, maybe halfway through his terms. Yeah, halfway through his term, he's going to be 80. So eventually he's going to be incapacitated.
That's the big fear.
Or he's not going to make a second term.
That's the big fear
obviously,
of many Americans. That's the big fear of many Americans. So with that, I mean,
it's a Kamala presidency.
It's a Harris presidency, given the way she supports things. So if you all want to keep the balance of power the way things are, Republicans of Georgia, I advise you to please go out and vote.
Yes.
Go out and vote for your senators in Georgia, because if you don't and the Democrats win both seats, it's a 50-50. And guess who breaks the tie all the time? That'll be that Senator
Kamala.
Senator Harris. And guess what? He just gave all three, basically two branches of government to the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
He gave them the
and
president,
both chambers of Congress.
because you nullify Republicans in the Senate. That's why that's two. And then three, well, the Republicans are still a minority for the next 2 years there. Who knows what happens in 2020
in Congress.
In Congress. So Republicans in Georgia, I advise you to please go out and vote, support them if you guys want to balance government. If you guys don't want to balance government, by all means, stay home. Just let the progressives just take over. But
and not only go out and vote, talk to your neighbors and convince them to vote red.
Act like
convince them, because one thing is for us to vote, and we have to do the They have to do the grassroots movement. Right. They got to talk to their neighbors. They got to get out there and say, "Hey, I'm voting for this senator." Or if the topic comes up, try to convince to vote for the red senators. Mm-hmm. And I honestly, hold on, backtrack. We're not telling you who to vote for, but if you want you want the red Senate, right, to balance to kind of put a stop to the progressive socialist agenda that's pretty much prevailing in the Democratic Party, you have to convince your neighbors to also vote for these guys, right? To kind of put a stop or balance to power, like Eddie just said. Because, and I'm going to go back to the 2020 election, the Trump rallies were huge. They were huge Trump rallies. And I think the opportunity was missed by those Trump rallies to do the grassroots movement.
Yeah.
Because just because you had rallies of thousands of people does not necessarily mean you're going to win a lot of votes. It doesn't. And just because you went to a rally doesn't mean people are going to vote for that guy, right? So what I'm trying to say is that we have to do the grassroots too. We have to go door knocking. We have to reach out to independents.
Yeah.
Right? You might not reach out to Democrats, but we reach out to independents. So even though all Republicans vote for Republican senator, what if all the independents vote for the Democratic senator? Mm-hmm. And they just like right now, they outvote the red ones, right? So also the grassroots movements have to be out there. The conversation with people have to be out there. Not violently, don't argue, don't fight, don't offend. Just tell them, this is what I believe. This is how it relates to me because of these values, of these principles, of these policies. And this is the reason why the other person should win, because of this and this and this policy. At least do three minimum, right? Or two. You have to be super politically involved, know all the answers, but just, three basic things of why you're going to vote for that senator. Right. And talk to independents, get the grassroots movement out there, because I fear the same opportunity to do grassroots movement is going to be lost in the Georgia Senate races as it was in the presidential by the Republicans, right? Because if you look at it, Georgia just turned blue in electoral colleges. It hasn't done that in over 20 years, okay? Democrats are going to go hard to get those 2 Senate seats flipped blue. Okay? It's a rare occasion. The way the Senate is made is 6 years, and they're staggered to make sure that no 2 senators from each state gets elected at the same time, right? To get, to have changes, to get new ideas, to just, clean house. This is the first time not the first time, but this is one of the rare cases where 2 senators are being voted into office at the same time in any given state. Georgia, 1 senator retired and the other was up for election. Mm-hmm. So there's seats that need to be filled, right? And that's one of the rare occasions that happens. It's one of the rare occasions, and this is one of them. And even if one turns blue and one turns red, you still have a shot, right? Of keeping balance a little bit. Yeah. But if both go blue, then you're talking about giving Joe Biden, like Eddie said, exactly like Eddie said, Joe Biden doesn't have a lot of legislative power. And behind that legislative power is Kamala Harris, who is more socialist than the self-declared socialist Bernie Sanders.
Yep. So that's why it's very important, folks. It's very important for you if you guys want to balance of power in government. And I'm only discussing balance of power in government. I don't like one party rule. Regardless, I hate it. It's a bad precedent. So please go out there and make sure you vote. Make sure you inform your independent buddies. Inform your liberal buddies. Hey, dude, this is what's going on. And just put the picture of them. You know, they don't want to listen to that's there. But make sure you go out there.
At least you did it. At least you tried.
At least you tried, yeah. So with that, we're going to end the show here. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you guys' support. So always remember to follow us here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell so you get the notifications. Follow us on our social media pages. And remember to also follow Soy Americano, our Spanish version of this podcast, okay? So you go on.
Follow.
Yeah, go on Spotify. Go on Anchor. We're there, and they'll tell you what other platforms it's also available on. So once again, I'm Eddie Marmolejo.
I'm Jaime Moreno.
This is MM Talk, and remember,
we're tired of it too.